Namaste, welcome to True Insights, and welcome to Vijay Jainji from Vishwa Jain Sangathan, Canada. And today we are going to cover a topic about the current political crisis in Canada. So, where we all know what is happening, the current government is in with the coalition with NDP, and a lot is happening in the Liberal Party right now. There is too much things are going on. So we are trying to cover what is the next step as a community, as a Canadian, what we are going to do in this situation, and how does this impact? What are the plus and minus in whole this situation? So Vijayji, you are appearing on a second time. I don't think you need more introduction, but still, I would like if you can tell about you and your organization in a few words, and then we can proceed with the very burning and hot point right now in Canada.
Thank you. Thank you, Runesh, and namaste and hello to all your viewers. And thank you for giving me opportunity to come to your platform one more time and talk about the whatever the political things happening and that affects all of us. I mean, you like it or not, you don't want to talk about politics, but it does affect your daily life throughout the day. So, and I think we should talk about that. So, before that, my introduction, Vijay Jain lives in Canada for last 14 years. Last year, we started this organization, Vishwa Jain Sangathan Canada, with the with the hope of addressing some of the issues as a Jain community, as a larger part of the Hindu civilization, what we need to protect and how what we need to promote our core values of truth and non-violence. With that in mind, we started this organization and we cover variety of aspects of our life through this organization. And I will directly go jump into the current topic what you brought up, right? So currently, Canada, we know that what is happening, the cost of living, and we you all know. I'll go back to the point where our the leadership crisis what we are going through when Canada is
So
going through
where is
such.
leadership crisis, Vijayji? I don't see any leadership crisis. So let's take a step back. I think. So when you say the leadership crisis, I would like to understand more in terms of which party we are referring to and
Yep.
where the leadership crisis is. So I just want to see it from a very kind of a neutral opinion where, as a Canadian or as an Hindu Canadian, I want to understand what actually is happening. There are people who are not very much involved into politics, right? But they are a very valued voter, right? So from that perspective, just send some light. What is happening in the Liberal Party right now? And then
Yep.
we will come to the race who are what the next steps are.
Yep. So when I say leadership crisis, I mean, yes, our country as a Canadian, we are facing leadership crisis because our politicians are our leaders. Our parliament that represent the entire country as a whole. And right now, it's in what the state the word used is prorogue in a prorogue state. Our current prime minister, Honorable Justin Trudeau, he has resigned from the leadership of Liberal Party, and he has expressed his intent to resign as a prime minister of the country as well. And then he kept the parliament in prorogue state until I think March 24th around that time frame. So what does that mean? The parliament is not in function at that time when just in December before they went on the holiday break. They had declared, I think, 40 billion plus deficit, which is like a for a country like Canada, unimaginable. And well, this guy, Justin Trudeau, when he was making his election campaign, he was saying that the budget will balance itself, and here we go, like 40 billion deficit. That's what he declared, and then he goes on uh, declaring this intent of resigning from the leadership and kept the parliament in prorogue state when our huge dependent on the US, United States of America, Trump comes to power, and he has been talking about putting 25% tariff. So I mean, this is the state we are in right now, and at that point in time, there is no leadership, and now where we are heading into we don't know what going to happen with this country, right? I mean, every day we
Yeah.
see
So
that.
basically, Vijay, what you are saying is that because of all this which is happening, and we are seeing it from last not 1 year or 2 years or few months, we are seeing it from long time, and preferably I
Yep,
would say like last 4 years and maybe
yep,
8 years, right? So
yep,
basically, the cost of living is going up, the crime is going up, education, the crisis in car theft, you name it, and you have it, right? Whatever the bad things could happen, and all of this while all of this was happening, and there are political equations at a world level, which is drastically changing and very fast changing. Look at Europe, look at
y-
India, look at Canada. So there are like a lot of political alliances, new alliances are being made, right?
yep,
In that situation, we as a community or we as a Canadian face these challenges of, overspending
yep,
in, by the politicians, so-called politicians, right? Where you are overspending money by different means. And when it comes to the action time, then suddenly you resign, right?
yep.
And giving some sort of excuse that, now people are not having trust or you need family time and this and that. Having said that, past is past. So now, Vijay, how do you see like if Justin Trudeau has resigned now, who are the people who are in the race, and what do you think who are the prominent candidate at this time in the leadership of Liberal Party race, and what should we do? So if you can name all those candidates, and then we can go one by one, who is in the race and what the community or Canadians should do at this point of time to make sure they select the right person who can represent the Liberal Party, because Liberal Party, in my opinion, has lost the plot. They are no more liberal. They are far left. They are, taking the ideology to a different level. And that is what even I am, by the way, I am, I like the liberal policies to some extent, right? And I am more, right now I'm more aligned towards conservative because they are talking about the country where liberal has gone too far in their ideology. So coming back to the state question, if you help me to understand who are the nominees right now for the liberal leadership and what are the credentials, and then we talk about who is the
Yeah.
right candidate. Do you think?
Yep, perfectly. No, that's very good question. And before I go to the list of the people who are nominated, what we need to understand, like how this is all playing out, right? Because many people don't know what I am sensing that people here thinking about next federal election, but I'm not. I don't want to go there. This part is very important. Right now, there is a Liberal Party leadership election is happening because Trudeau resigned from the Liberal Party leadership. This election is going to happen on March 9th, right? And that time, the Liberal Party leader will be decided. And
So this is just to make sure this is just the Liberal Party. It's not a federal because a lot of people are confused. Oh, it's a federal election. We are pissed off with liberals. We are going to vote for conservatives. So this is just inside the Liberal Party. Who is going to be the next leader replacing Justin Trudeau? Is that
that is that is correct. So this is we are not talking about next federal election at all. Next federal election, when they will happen, I mean, if if Trudeau would not have resigned and Jagmeet Singh would have continued to support and whatever thing would have happened, this whole parliament would have gone till October and then election would happen that time, right? And I mean, it may possible that this would happen again, right? So right now, what we are talking about is that where on March 9th, there's the election happening between Liberal Party to choose their leader. And now, whatever situation we are in right now, that person who will become the Liberal Party leader will automatically become the PM of Canada for this term of parliament, right? So now this term of parliament, which is, I mean, it can go till October. It can be, let's say, on March 24th, I believe, when the parliament will resume. 24th or 27th, I'm forgetting the date. I think March 24th when the parliament will resume after this prorogue state ends, right? And it may happen that they might bring a, let's say, no confidence motion. Parliament may, let's say, may get dissolved, and fresh election will be called out maybe sometime a month or 2 months later, maybe April or May time frame. And the next prime minister becomes in June. He, let's say, takes the oath. For this time frame, I'm talking about from March 9th till the next federal election happens and next PM comes there, right? This is the interim period, right? For this interim period, there will be some PM, correct? And we are talking about now. On March 9th, whoever becomes the Liberal Party um, leader, same person will become a PM of the country for that interim period, right? So we are talking about that. We are not talking about next federal election. If in next federal election, if you want to vote conservative, feel free.
So,
Please do that. Yeah.
so to summarize and make it easy for people to understand. So basically, right now, let's say Justin Trudeau, he resigned, but he is an interim PM. So he is the PM. Now, whoever within these seven candidates who
Yep.
are up for the leadership race,
Yep.
they have their internal voting. For that, you have to be a liberal. You should have a liberal membership, right? Liberal Party. So those members who are the Liberal Party members will vote to select the leader who will replace Justin Trudeau, and that person will become the PM until the federal elections happens.
That is
It
correct.
could be
Yep.
in March, April, or it could go up to October, depending on how Jagmeet Singh played this whole episode, which he has been doing pretty well, and jumping from one to other place. So depending on that, so this whole political leadership, which is now happening in Liberal Party, is about voting for selecting a new party leader from the Liberal who will become eventually the PM.
Yep. You should take it as a, so this voting is not for the federal election. This voting is for the Liberal Party, and the people who can vote for Liberal Party leadership is the people who are registered member of Liberal Party. And in this particular vote, I mean, a simple like example. Let's say you had organization temple, right? Now you have to decide temple's president. Then whoever is the temple's member, they're gonna vote for that and gonna make a president of that temple. It is like that. There's a political
Yes.
party called Liberal Party. There is a voting happening. So whoever is a member of that party, and there's a cutoff date, which is important. We all have to understand. Anybody who is a registered member of Liberal Party by 27th of January. It's important date to know. Okay. So whoever takes the membership of Liberal Party by 27th of January, they would vote on 9th March. My gut feel is that voting will happen online. I'm not 100% sure, but most likely gonna be online on 9th March, and it's gonna happen all over the country, right? And they will directly vote for that out of seven candidates, which you talked through right now, and then whoever becomes, let's say, get maximum. There is a calculation. Get vote within the Liberal Party, become the leader of the Liberal Party, automatically becomes the PM of the country for that from that point until the next election happens, which is few months
Mhm.
down the line, and then next PM becomes. So you are getting, let's say, I mean, a couple of
24
months. I
months
would.
or 6 months. Yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
Now
Yeah.
you
Depending
ask
on when the election.
you asked me the question like this, the candidates, right? Which are those seven candidates? So yes, we know that Chrystia Freeland, who was the finance minister in the under Trudeau, or maybe the deputy prime minister, right? We know
Yes,
that,
she was deputy prime minister. Yeah.
and then people need to understand these are the people on the budget. They gave 40 plus billion-dollar deficit, and they resigned. So this resignation was a part of a distraction because they messed up big time. And before media could, or let's say some wise people could, let's say, raise noise, they created whole this distraction of resigning and all that drama. But they messed up big time. So that's a
Yeah,
Chrystia
because
Freeland.
nobody is talking about that now, right? Everybody is talking about the crisis in the Liberal Party. Who is the nominee? Who is going to win?
Yeah,
Everybody is caught in the financial
exactly.
crisis or mess
Yes.
which they
Yeah.
have created.
And it's created by the Chrystia Freeland. Okay. Never forget that. Okay. So it's not basically Justin Trudeau. I mean, like putting Chrystia Freeland there for even for a couple of months, uh, you would create bigger damage than what Trudeau created. Okay. Then the second person, I think here is a Mark Carney. I think he was
He's the carbon tax guy.
we know, right? So basically Trump comes to the office the day one, first order what he passed, he pulls out from the Paris that whole that environment deal, whatever was there, right? And here basically this is the Mark Carney, basically the carbon tax guy. I mean, how much we are suffering because of that, we all know. Then I think Karina Gold. Then we have Jamie Bettis, we have Frank Bailey, and we have Ruby Della, and then of course Chandra Arya ji, right? So now among these, we need to understand and why we are connecting and we are talking about, and why the whole campaign we are helping Chandra Arya ji, because we need to understand. See, yes, they all are liberals, but then they either each person was a MP or played a big role in Liberal Party. Okay. On the contrary, when you look at Chandra Arya ji, right? Yes, he. This is his third term. He has been MP since 2015, right? He won 3 elections, right? More so, but he was a backbench MP. He was never given any big portfolio. So let's say, yeah, liberals created a mess. Completely agree. But who created a mess? Is it Trump? Because see, it's any party, there is a different like group within the party also, right? So the mess is created by some people in Liberal Party. Liberal Party also had good people in the past. I mean, right now we know that how much Trudeau was pampering the Khalistan extremists and all that. But then there were good people in Liberal Party. I forgot the name of the one MP. I think Ramesh Sangha, who was openly talking against the this Khalistan extremism. But then, what did Trudeau do? Trudeau did. He ended his career completely, right? So, so it's not everybody in the Liberal Party is bad. Of course, there are good people, but then they were they were given backbench. That's how I would call it, right? Now, if we are getting this 2 3 months time frame, and if we choose the right candidate, and important is that choosing the right candidate doesn't cost us anything. Okay, doesn't take us away our choice. Who will we make? Whom do we want to vote in next federal election? So if those are the things, then we must make sure that we vote for Chandra Arya in this leadership race. That's how basically I want to
So,
project this.
so basically, I think you are implying, Vijay, is that among all these candidates which you mentioned, right? There you are saying some or other way these people has been part of the current situation in Canada, which could be, rising cost of living, rising cost of
Yep.
homes, increased crime, and then the schools are not up to the mark, and then this refugee crisis, then homeless people around, and there's this whole, uh, marijuana selling on the streets and a lot of junkies and all that, right? So it's not one, but it's many, many things. So what you are trying to imply is that all these people in this nomination race, except Chandra Arya, he has been basically talking what liberals should be talking. Liberals' policies, how they should be happening, is the Chandra Arya is the one who is carrying that kind of good intentions within the Liberal Party, even though he's part of the bigger caucus in Liberal where people are not happy. They are saying, and it's not just me and you, but I think in general, every Canadian, even I met with some of the people who has been hardcore Liberal, right? All time, all their life, they voted for the Liberal, but they don't want to vote now because their life has changed, right? They don't have enough money in their banks. They are eating today and they don't know what I'm going to eat tomorrow. That's the situation with the people now, right? Because of this overspending and all that stuff. So right now, when liberals, and it doesn't matter which, you know, part of the world we belong to and what sort of the communities we belong to, but mostly people are pissed off the liberal. While you are asking that within the liberal, you vote for Chandra Arya because is not part of the problem, even though he's a part in party, and he might be able to pull liberals out of this crisis, even though if he's there for 3 4 months.
So we are not talking about pulling liberal out of the crisis. What we are talking about is, and there are two aspects. The first aspect, what we covered so far, is for that interim period, who will be the right candidate? Okay. And I talked about the other candidate because they were the part of the problem. They were never part of the solution. Right. However, Chandra Arya ji, if you look at his track record, right? And I let me talk about uh, like some of them. None of them basically spoke against this extremism, growing extremism in Canada. But
Which
Chandra
is
Arya ji,
impacting everybody.
which is impacting everybody. But Chandra Arya ji openly spoken about that in parliament everywhere. Number one. Number two, look at the track record of Chandra Arya, a real Canadian dream story. A immigrant, very hard, very well skilled immigrant, having a engineer background, comes to Canada with the family, with his wife, uh, works very hard, gets more education here too, becomes a does a very good high profile corporate job because of his skills, becomes an entrepreneur, works in, I think he does a startup also as a defense manufacturing company, and then he goes to parliament and he becomes MP for 3 terms. And when this leadership crisis are happening, he has that he shows the courage to nominate himself for this race. This is a Canadian story Canadian needs to understand. Where if you are having a very good skill, you want to add positively in the Canadian system. You are a very law-abiding citizen, and you want to add very positively. You want to create jobs here. You want to create more innovations here. Canada is a place, and this is how. And by the way, I don't know whether you all saw that, but you should read the whatever how he wants to change the system here. He's talking about, yes, immigration, but he's not talking about increasing immigration. He's talking about, because the immigration system is broken right now, correct? Hugely broken. It used to be very good earlier. It got broken after the what Trudeau did, right? So he's talking about fixing all of that, right? So he's not talking. Yeah, he's immigrant, but he's a good immigrant. You think about that. See, you should be able to
Yeah,
differentiate between
see,
what do you want, what you don't want.
correct. And even if you look at the US, right? So they are not opposed to immigration, but you have to put some sort of rules in place. So where you are getting the right people who are contributing to the economy, creating
Yep,
more opportunities here, contributing positively, not getting a crime, not what Canada is not for. Right? We have to
yep.
get the people who believes in Canadian values, who can thrive on those values, rather than changing the dynamics and making it, worst. So that's how it goes. So
Yep,
no,
and
that's
I highly
wonderful. Yeah, go
recommend.
ahead.
I highly recommend that people should read the statement when when he nominated himself. Like his how he's gonna change things, what kind of a government is talking about, a lean government, making the strong, tough decisions, what is thinking about immigration, how he's going to deal with a lot of issues, like, so he has talked very nice things. On the contrary, think about the Christina Freeland. What she's talking about? Only one part. Oh, if I become prime minister or I become a leader of the Liberal Party, I would take away the capital gain tax. Well, you were the one first you added it. Correct? And now you are
Correct.
removing it. And on that basis, you are asking people to vote for you. Seriously? I mean, there has to be some kind of, like, like a logical thing to say. But anyway, now there are two aspects. Second aspect, and I will talk about as a Hindu Canadian, as a Jain Canadian, as a Canadian having Indian background, right? How should we look at that? Why we must take Liberal Party membership at the moment, today, right now? Okay. A, it does not take away your any choice whom you will vote in next federal election. It does not take away. You can vote liberal, conservative, PPC, or NDP, or anybody, whoever you want, independent, whatever you want, right, in the actual election. However, at this moment, if you become member of Liberal Party, by the way, that membership is free. You don't have to pay anything. Anybody who is 14 years and above and Canadian citizen or permanent resident, they can take that membership. By 27 January, take the membership, becomes eligible to vote on 9th March and vote for Chandra Arya. But more so, why we must do that, even if we are fed up with the conservative and whatnot. I am talking about here a politics of Hindu interest here. And that's very important to understand. So, Chandra Arya is only one person in the entire parliament, House of Commons, who spoke in for Hindu interest only one person is spoke.
So which
And
go ahead,
yeah,
sorry. For finish it, then I have a question. Yeah.
okay. So the way it works is that, see, in the politics, any statement you make in parliament or you don't make in parliament or Twitter or anywhere, it has a political cost. It has a risk also. Correct? And of course, there is a cost, there is a benefit too, or there could be loss also, right? So now many times we feel, oh, there is so much wrong is happening. Why these politicians don't say anything? Of course, because they know the cost, they know the loss, right? And they don't see any benefit out of it. If you talk in favor of Hindu interest right now in the political area, in political circle, they know that if we talk in favor of Hindu interest, there is a risk. We're gonna lose our some. We're gonna offend some other people, and Hindu community not gonna help us anyway. So that's how the politicians look at Hindu community. On the contrary, Chandra Arya ji, each time he spoke the truth, he spoke for the Hindu interest by risking his political aspiration, by giving some political cost. Now, the point here for all of us is that now how do we respond to all the risk he took? How are we responding as Hindu community? We have to show very strong support for Chandra ji. We have to show that we are giving a decent vote share for him. And when we do that, within the political party, doesn't matter the liberal, conservative, anybody, the politics of Hindu interest will completely change. Because in
Yes.
politics,
And Hindu interest is basically when you say Hindu interest, this is the community who has been very aggressively participating in the Canadian, economy, right? They have been very law-abiding citizens, right? They have been very sort of following the protocols, be it general life, public life, private life, or professional life. They are all highly placed individuals. However, they are not actively involved in the politics, just like the other communities who has created their nest, right? If you
yep,
go to a certain part of the countries, you will find, oh, this particular constituency is if I disobey these guys or I don't listen to this particular community, I'm gonna lose that vote. And this is not a new phenomena. It is happening worldwide, right? Where the constituencies, then the councils, then the regional councils has been captured, right? Because of the certain vote bank politics, right? And that is what right now these liberals or I would say even conservatives, right? The same in my opinion, right? Wherever they say, oh, this particular statement will get me some sort of benefit out of this, they make it. If they don't feel that benefit, which they don't feel for the Hindu Canadians, and when I say Hindu Canadians again, I think that Hindu Canadians are truly following the Canadian way of living, right? Be it so when Chandraji is speaking for the Hindu Canadians, he's actually speaking for all the Canadians because
totally
these are
agree.
the people who mingle very easily with this culture.
Yep,
And that is where it becomes very important for the community at large that we need to come forward as an Hindu Canadian and as people who really believes to be Canadian. We came here for a purpose. So if we want to kind of carry forward that, then we have to take a liberal membership, vote for RNG to make sure that he wins this race. And that's how we consolidate the one thing which Vijay mentioned about consolidating this vote. And right now, one thing I think you didn't cover that, but I want to mention Hindu community has been awake. That's what I feel at large. Many groups, many people, they are actively involved, and that change and that sort of the narrative is being seen in the society as well as the political spectrum.
yep. So when I talk about, yeah, so when I say Hindu interest is nothing but exactly the Canadian interest. The
Canadian interest, exactly.
How would I put that as a Hindu? We don't want anything extra. We want everything at par. We don't want we don't want any special treatment, right?
Correct. We don't
But
want this to be a Red Bull. Yeah.
we don't want any special treatment because we want to work hard. We want to basically we are paying taxes. We add positively in the community, in the socio-economic fabric of this country. We are not on welfare. We add everything positively. However, the problem when I say Hindu interest is that, yes, we don't want anything extra. We don't want anything special. At the same time, we want to be treated at par with everybody else. What is happening right now is that our
Right.
community is not being treated at par, but is treated below. And that is where, when I say that Hindu interest is that, let us also treat everybody at par. right? I mean, attacks on Hindus, nobody speaks.
Nobody
Like,
speaks.
and what, like, I mean, other politicians, they stay quiet on this, the entire Khalistan extremism going on. But he's the only guy, Miss Chandra Arya ji, right? He does talk about against the Khalistan extremism, right? I mean, if I look at the, I think in one of the posts I put that like his track record, what all these things did, and that clearly shows. I mean, I can quickly list them. He's the one who championed and who proposed the motion to pass the Hindu Heritage Month, Canada wide. And by the way,
And by the way, just to add before you go, he's the person who also proposed Christian Heritage Month this
I
time
was
in December, right? So
I
that
was
is
the most.
what the and that is fully supported, by the way, Vijay, by Hindu Canadians, right? They're fully supported. If you ask me, I'm fully in favor of that, right? I am
That
in
is
favor. When I landed in this country, I heard the church bells, and I want to hear church bells rest of my life, right?
Yep.
I don't want to change the dynamics, but there are people who want to change that dynamics.
Yep. So see, as when we say Hindu, so there is a difference. But see, we are people when we go, we assimilate, not even
Assimilate,
integrate.
right?
We assimilate with the culture of the host country wherever you go. That's basically what
Because you
we are,
don't have any prohibition. Yeah,
right? However, there are others, they don't even integrate. I mean, that's a whole different part. For some other podcast, we will take it. But right now, see, yes, he did the Hindu Heritage Month and he did the Christian Heritage Month also. On the same time, this is the same Liberal Party who made this declaration that, oh, Canada is we are on a stolen land. And so party took a line where you are hitting your own this Canadian culture. That's what the Liberal Party took the stand, right? On the contrary, here is a person who seconded the motion for the Christian Heritage Month. So this is what it matters. And he does not even did only Hindu Heritage Month, but Christian Heritage Month. That means that we are looking for everything. He is looking everything at par, real Canadian value, right?
right.
Then I will go to the next point. Nobody dared to talk to get rid of this misconception against for this swastika sign. But he was the one who spoke in the parliament because swastika is
Multiple
very
times.
swastika word as well as swastika sign is very auspicious to us, correct? And not only us, to many communities. And whatever the media did, they ran the wrong narrative about the word, right? And the sign, and that's a whole different part. But he is the one who spoke against it. Nobody else took that stand to get rid of that misconception. That's one second part I would say. Third thing is that he is the one he openly condemned the Khalistan extremism, whether it's the Indira Gandhi tableau, like where the glorification of her assassination was happening. He spoke against when there were
Open on the
attacks.
streets, right? That's like kids are on the street, everybody's watching that. So just think about those
Yep,
small,
yep.
young kids, what they might be thinking about it.
And then when this whole attacks on Hindu temples happened, he was the one who clearly called out who were the perpetrators. Others did not. None of the politicians did that. Whether MP, MPP, anybody, mayor, or doesn't matter. Nobody called out who were the perpetrators. He was the only one who clearly spoke out who were the perpetrators. That's what the real. And that's what it matters. Then he was the one who spoke to address Hindu phobia. Only member from the Liberal Party who
Huh.
clearly, openly talked about getting Hindu phobia addressed. He was the one. I think, sponsored the petition for criminalizing the doxing. With the that's he did that. I mean, I can go on. There are many things what he did for Hindu community, and he spoke for the Hindu interest. And by the way, he was the one. He prevented that motion. The motion was proposed by Sugh Dhaliwal, right?
Suk, yeah,
Yeah,
Sugarivan, yeah.
you call that 1984 anti-Sikh rights as a
Genocide.
genocide, and he wanted to have it unanimously passed. But then only Chandra Arya spoke in the Parliament, House of Commons, and then that motion didn't get passed. It's very important for us as a Hindu Canadians and as Indian Canadians, to all of us to know that what does it mean, right?
And that
So
was so cunning on him that, people don't know much of the history by just telling them a little bit of the,
yes,
layers about the truth. And then you get everybody on side and pass a law, which can really create unrest within the Canadian society, the law which can really divide the people, right? So that's how they are playing out. And Chandra Arya has been the voice, right? Who has
And
been
by the
kind of
way,
standing firm against these people.
and when I say Hindu Canadian, I mean I talk about even if you are if you come from Sikh faith also, right? That is also, I mean, Chandra Arya ji is a person, because he's not. See, there's a difference between like Khalistani and Sikh. It's Khalistan doesn't equal to Sikh, right? Because vast majority of Sikhs, they are not into all this the supporting extremism.
90% of them. Yes, you are right. Yeah.
We know
90%.
yeah, so this is where, and they all, I mean, his riding is very much heavily Sikh population, and he won
Yep.
the three times election from there. They all supported him, and we and all communities, right? So that's what the best part of Chandra Arya is there.
Yeah.
So
So we are 4 minutes more left, Vijay. So
okay.
let's wind it up. So because if it becomes too long, then people get lost, right? I just want to make sure that we
Yep.
get the intent of this, podcast which we are doing. So the basically intent is, as we have been talking from last so long, is to kind of let you know what is happening in the Canadian politics and especially in the Liberal Party,
Yep.
what are the things which are happening. So as Vijay covered that one of the key thing is happening that Justin Trudeau has resigned. Everybody knows. Even the kids know that he has resigned. Now there is election within the Liberal Party to select next Liberal Party leader. And as a part of that, there are 7 candidates. Vijay mentioned in all the names and their credentials. You can just reverse the video and watch those. But I'm not going to cover those names. However, I have seen Vijay is highlighting the name of Chandra Arya. As a Canadian, you must vote for Chandra Arya because I think he is truly, truly representing what liberal values are. While the other candidates has been going far left and not really representing what Canadian or liberal party values are, he has been standing firm and very vocal about anything which is going wrong or which is happening wrong within the Liberal Party. So that's what makes his credentials very strong within the Liberal Party. By the way, this particular leadership election within the Liberal Party is not the federal election. So don't confuse yourself. Federal elections is a different part. So I and Vijay, and I think most of the people who are closely following the politics are requesting to all of you to go and take the Liberal Party membership. You can find the link down in the description. You simply go register there and get the Liberal membership. After that, the elections, which are likely to happen on 9th of March, whenever you get an email, whether it's an online election, offline election, I think once you are a registered member, you will get an email communication for sure how to vote. And that is the time when we vote and select the leader of the Liberal Party. And I am fingers crossed it is Chandra Arya, then he's gonna work for the broader Canadian community, including the Hindu Canadians, to make sure that we build the Canada which we really dream for, which the Canada which used to be. That's what we need to do until next federal elections happen. So that could be 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, depending on how long this coalition government with Jagmeet Singh and Liberal Party goes on. That is the nutshell, Vijay. Cover it. If you think I missed anything, you still have 90 seconds. Oh,
Thank you so much. So important date. Before you must take membership before 27th of January, which is only 2 days away or 4 days away. Take membership for yourself, for everybody in your family, anybody of the age 14 and above, Canadian citizen or permanent resident, anywhere in Canada should take this membership. You take membership, get everybody in family take membership, call people around your family, anybody who knows remote part of Canada, doesn't matter, anybody, anywhere. You call them, ask them to convince them to take membership. That is the most important part. If you are a member on 27 January, then only you'll be able to vote on 9th March. So very important. At the time is now to act. Once this part is done, then don't worry about that. You vote that day. And yeah, you were saying something? Yeah.
no,
And
I
then
was saying it takes 30 seconds to do that.
oh yes, yes, and and just not WhatsApp forward. I mean, first you take the membership, because I know many people are sending messages and talking a lot, but not taking membership, which is free. I mean, believe me, this is like I'm surprised. Like there's no brainer, right? Go ahead, take the membership,
No
and for
brainer.
everybody in the
And
family.
then and it takes 30 seconds only. You go. So
Yep.
literally there are, only four fields on the form. You have to give your name, phone number, address, email, and a consent, and then just sign up. You are done. So just
Yep.
30 seconds can change 30 years how Canada looks like. Do you
Yep.
want a peaceful Canada or you want a peaceful Canada?
A-
Peaceful or peaceful? And that's what we are here to decide.
Yep. And imagine if Chandra Arya ji is, even if he becomes PM of Canada for even for 1 week also. Let's go with that thought. The India and Canada, the diplomatic relationship right now, it's completely down, right? But if Chandra Arya ji become PM only for 1 week, you can imagine that whatever wrong had happened in last few years, right? That the between India and Canada relationship, that will be completely changed just because Chandra Arya ji becoming PM even for 1 week also. So
And
that
that
much
will help Canada in the long run because
that will
India,
definitely.
I'm a Canadian, by the way. So but India looking at the growing economy, everybody's talking about it. No, none of the countries are. You don't want to make enemies out of nothing, right? When there
Yes.
is no sort of gaps within the relationship, right? And whatever happened in this whole entire episode, I don't know whether it was an egoistic nature, what transpired, whole this thing to happen. I have no idea. There could be multiple reasons, but I think this was uncalled for. This could have never happened because nobody wants to break a relationship with such a growing country, given that a large portion of the people are living in here, right? And they are not only Hindu Canadians, they come from the different faith, right? They have back home relationship. There is money which is coming, the pensioners and all that. So this is a global word now. It is not limited. Countries' names are just labels, I believe. Everybody needs to take care of their label, which country you belong to. Nobody's gonna tear that off. So just that's where we need some strong policies within the country to make sure that it's properly holding its own values, its own constitution, while disturbing the others' label. So somebody's living in India is not a crime. I have seen how people trying to portray here, oh, you talk about the pro India, now you are this and that, right? That's not what Canada is. It has a freedom to fly any country's flag. That's what the lovely country it is. But unfortunately, and I will say it for the third time, unfortunately, it has been hijacked by some ill intended people in the society, and they are trying to set the narrative. They are trying to build the narrative. So I request again to all Canadians, all peace loving Canadians, and all peace loving people. It does not matter which faith you come from. Come forward, take the membership from the Liberal Party, choose the right candidate. It is very important to have the candidates in each party who has good intention for Canada, who has good intentions for this country, who thrives on these values, be it conservative or liberal. So, as a Canadian, it's your job to make sure that the balance is there within each party and the good people are coming. It does not matter which party, but they should be in both places. That's how Canada will thrive and become a stronger country where we need to face the growing sort of power balance where we are getting 25% tariff from US anytime soon. I don't know. First, I don't want to go in there, but select the right candidate, select Chandra Arya ji, vote on that day. Vijay, I reached on 45 minutes. This time, I'm literally going to give you another 30 seconds before we wrap it off. And when I say 30 seconds, it's 30 seconds.
Thank you so much, Arunaji. And yes, totally agree. Remember 27th January, take the membership and just don't like, okay, yeah, I will take it tomorrow. Just take right away. Right away
Take
membership,
time.
and everybody in your family. It's free.
Do it
Please,
now.
yes, do it now and convince others because the deciding factors in this leadership race gonna be who has volunteers across the country. Each one of you is a volunteer. Keep in mind, we all are volunteers for a candidate who spoke truth in parliament for us. That's why we are his volunteer. That's how we have to take it and call as many people you can call, convince them, and make them the member of this party. Only for this leadership race only. That's it. After that, next federal election, do whatever you like. That's how I would say.
Okay. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you for joining this and having this very open-hearted discussion with all the people. So that's a good part. And we have a, by the way, I know we have a uh, mm, X space plan 25th of January. You can find those details. I'm not going to talk about here, but you can find that details on the social media. Join that to ask questions to learn more about whatever we discussed today. If you have any open questions, that would be an open access space. So you can join, which is happening on 25th of January, and stay tuned to get the true insights matter. Why? Knowing the truth is very important because there is a lot of lies on the social media and people are building the narrative. So stay with us and get to know the truth from all aspects of Canadian lives. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you so much. Namaste. Namaste.